I need to stop being lazy and get back to making regular videos that got pictures instead of a black screen. Some animation or something. Yeah, I just been fading away from this YouTube shit, but I'll be watching, everybody videos. Anyway, let's start out with the co-main event. It was a good fight, and Abner Maher is as sharp as I knew he was. It's funny because this kid's a dirty fighter, but when he chooses or decides to fight clean, he's a very, very good fighter, and he's more than just a brawler. He's a guy that has technique in the art of boxing. So the fight definitely was stopped too early. A guy like Ponce de Leon at any time with his power can change a fight. So we don't know what could have happened in those last 3 rounds. We're not going to be, psychics. But, it's easy to say, yeah, and I'm the same way. I would like to think that Abner Maher could have finished the fight. He was, he was in rhythm. He was on a roll. He had hurt Ponce de Leon, and he had knocked him down twice. But it's the what-if factor. Who knows what could have happened. That was an early stoppage. Abner Maher, man, I always wanted to see him against Donaire. I felt he had the ability to beat Donaire. And at this point, I want to see him against Guillermo Rigondeaux. I think that's the fight for Rigo to take next, as I said in a past vid. Moving on to the main event, it was what it was. Stylistically, this was a bad matchup for Guerrero. Honestly, I felt more entertained by the 4 rounds Victor Ortiz gave Mayweather than I felt entertained by this fight. That's just to be honest. I just felt that even in spots, even when Guerrero did good, was it enough to win a round? I don't know if I can give him 1 round in this fight. I mean, it was funny because I remember Malnaji saying, okay, that was a nice little mini comeback, and I was cracking up. I said, he just said that was a mini comeback. Like, how does somebody say that was a mini comeback? Miniature comeback. Even when the dude's doing good, is it well enough to even win him the round, And some rounds were close, but it's like it wasn't decisive to even give it to Guerrero. This just was a bad stylistic matchup for Guerrero, man. It wasn't entertaining like how Cotto was and the Ortiz fight was, in my opinion. It just wasn't. It was a bad matchup stylistically for Guerrero. Guerrero was one-dimensional. He came to fight one way. They really did. They really believed what they thought, I guess, that they was going to beat down Mayweather, They was going to beat that wife beater down, as Guerrero's dad mentioned over and over again in the press conference, which I felt was comical. But, comical the way he was saying it. You shouldn't put your hands on women. In case people try to twist that, like, what do you mean that shit was funny? It was funny the way he was going off and saying it, It was funny how the 2 dads was going at it. Even in the middle of the ring, how the 2 dads still were going at it, and Guerrero and Mayweather are dead locked in, staring at each other. They're not even worried about that shit, but it was funny how the 2 fathers are still going at it, man. This whole Guerrero versus Mayweather thing was like a circus, and at the same time, the fight was kind of a joke because stylistically, it was a bad matchup for Guerrero. Guerrero came with one game plan. It didn't work. He didn't change nothing. He didn't show no versatility. He gets an A+ for effort, A++ for effort because he didn't stop coming. He kept trying, but he just couldn't win the fight. And when you're in a fight, you have to train, you have to study your opponent, and you have to come up with several game plans. When you're going up against Mayweather, you got to have an A, B, C, and shit, probably even a D game plan to beat him. You can't rely on, no disrespect, you can't rely on Jesus or God, because I don't think either person takes sides in any sport for that matter. I don't think they care, just my opinion, about boxing. First of all, it's a violent sport to start with. So, why would God pick sides, as Mayweather said? But, anyway, a valid effort by Guerrero. But this fight, I got to be honest, and I'm seldomly bored by fights. It was like, okay, Mayweather, it was a masterpiece by Mayweather. It was a boxing clean. But then, it got to a point where I was just, I was bored, man. And I don't get bored with fights. I enjoy tactical matchups. But this just was a overmatched opponent. He was totally outclassed. Ortiz wasn't totally outclassed. I'm sorry, he just wasn't. Even within those 4 rounds, Guerrero was totally outclassed. On to a more serious note. I'm sure this is gonna. I don't know what this is gonna, but I always speak my mind. Yo, I feel Juan Manuel Marquez should get a rematch at Mayweather. Now I know Mayweather had beat Marquez easily the first time, but what I'm saying is that a couple years have went by. Marquez is a full welterweight now. I mean, this guy has trained. His body has put on muscle now. He is a welterweight now. If he wants to stay at welterweight, he is a full-fledged welterweight now, I feel. That's one thing. And two, Marquez boxing IQ is so sharp. Like, this man studies film. Him and Nacho are a great team. They will study their mistakes. They will study the first fight. And they will literally come up with a different game plans. And they will show different versatilities. They'll be more prepared the second time. I respect Juan Manuel Marquez so much, and I feel that he's so underrated. The guy knocked out Pacquiao, and he still doesn't get that much attention. I mean, he's the number 2, number 3 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, depending on what list you're looking at. And he doesn't get his respect. I rate Marquez as one of the best Mexican fighters of all time. People are going to get mad at this, but it's not a foregone conclusion that Julio Cesar Chavez in his prime, senior, could have beat Marquez. It's not a foregone conclusion. I know people are going to get, some people are going to get real, upset with that statement, but it's my opinion, and I stand by it. I cannot, Chavez Sr. was a great fighter, but so is Juan Manuel Marquez, who I've seen in my day. And if the two went at it, the best man wins. It's not a foregone conclusion that Chavez Sr. beats Juan Manuel Marquez. And this Salvador Sanchez guy is a legend. His career, unfortunately was cut short. But it's no... I can't rate Salvador Sanchez automatically like they put him the best Mexican fighter of all time. Nah, man. Like, I'm sorry. I haven't seen all the dudes' fights, but I rate Marquez high, man. And please name a Mexican fighter that's better than Marquez, because I've never seen anybody with a higher IQ than Marquez that's a Mexican fighter. The dude can be a brawler, but he's a baller with technique. The dude's IQ is insane. He can box if he wants to. That's why I respect Marquez so much. I want to see him in a rematch against Mayweather. And another thing is, for everybody saying that, this fight was a dud, I have no problem with this Guerrero fight that Mayweather picked. I have no problem with this fight that Guerrero picked. But the only thing I'm saying is, if Mayweather stays active, that'll be good. If he fights in September or December, that'll be good. But, he definitely got to fight at least twice a year. And I think people will be less frustrated with the choice of opponent he picks. But if we want to be realistic, who can he fight in the welterweight division? He can fight Timothy Bradley. Paulie Malignaggi, we already know, Paulie will give a good effort, I'm sure, and make it interesting at times. But seriously, like, who can Mayweather fight? Only people I can think of is Tim Bradley or Juan, even more interested, Juan Manuel Marquez. I think if Marquez and Bradley fight, Mayweather should face the winner. Other than that, who is he going to fight? Kell Brook? Devin Alexander? Let's go through the list. Mike Jones has disappeared out the picture. Who is he going to fight? Who is he going to fight? What's this Keith one-time Thurman? Who is he going to fight in the welterweight division? Let's be honest. Besides Marquez and Bradley, the dude's competition's at 154. I don't feel Mayweather has... I might not be a supporter of Mayweather or the biggest fanboy of Mayweather. I respect his craft, but don't care much for him. Like, and I don't ride his dick like some other people do. But I do respect his craft. And he is an all-time great. But I don't see who Mayweather can face besides the winner of Bradley Marquez, or facing both Bradley and Marquez just for the hell of it, since he's got 5 fights left. Fuck it. No matter who wins, fight both of them, because it'd probably be a good fight. Style make fights. Both of them fighters would be interesting to see him against. But he doesn't have nothing to prove to step up to 154 again. Now, if he chooses to do so, fine. And another thing is, I don't want to, if he faces Canelo, I don't want to hear nothing about no size difference. Marquez was a smaller fighter. If he had fought Pacquiao, Pacquiao's a smaller fighter. It's about skills, man. I don't want to hear about the size. Oh, Canelo's too big for Mayweather. You know what I mean? And that's not a knock on anybody that thinks that. That's an opinion. Like Rope's video made sense. You know what I mean? That was a valid video. And I get where he was coming from. But at the same time, I understand exactly what he's coming from because Cotto is not a true 154 pounder. Cotto just went up to 154 to look for more money, big fights because he fought everybody at welterweight. Canelo is really a 160 pounder, to be honest. Kid's huge. So I get the whole argument, but at the same time, it's like I personally, my opinion, I don't feel sorry for Mayweather. You know, if he loses that fight, he loses that fight. He doesn't have to take that fight, though. I agree with that. He doesn't have to take that fight. He has nothing to prove. But at the same time, I'm not going to like sit here and be like, oh, well, he's too big for, well, Marquez was too small for Mayweather. But I really want to see Marquez face Mayweather again, and I can't believe people aren't talking about Marquez facing Mayweather again. As a matter of fact, everybody that leave comments, please let me know, boxing fans, what do you think of Marquez facing Mayweather again? Because I got so much respect for Marquez, I think the fight would be different. I'm not saying Marquez can beat Mayweather, but he's just so goddamn intelligent. The fight has to be different if he faces Mayweather again. I respect Marquez too much, even in his older age. The fight will be different if he faces Marquez again. He will make adjustments. He will come up with a better game plan and strategy because Marquez is one intelligent. He's a special fighter, man. And even in his old age, his smarts is what keeps him winning. So, you know, guy knocked out Pacquiao, and it's like nobody's talking about him, you know. But if Mayweather had been the one to knock out Pacquiao, everybody'd still be talking about it, you know. I just feel Marquez doesn't get the respect he deserves. And possibly Marquez could be the best Mexican fighter of all time, man. Match him up against any Mexican that's near his size, and let's see what happens. You know? Against Chavez Sr., like I said, I feel Marquez got the ability to beat Chavez Sr., but Chavez Sr. also got the ability to beat Marquez. It's like a toss-up fight in my eyes. Two of these guys in their prime, it's one hell of a fight. It's a dream match, you know? But, let me know what y'all think of Marquez, man, because and again, don't take what I'm saying out of context. Salvador Sanchez is a legend, and it's a shame his career was ended shortly, but it was ended shortly, and you know, that's just the reality of the situation, and I feel sometimes people rate him so high, like, you know, the best Mexican fighter of all time. I can't co-sign with that, man, and I don't know if Marquez necessarily is the best Mexican fighter of all time, but I'm not going to co-sign and automatically say it's Salvador Sanchez or Chavez Sr. is better than Juan Manuel Marquez. That's the guy that I grew up watching in my day and era, even though I'm still young. You know, that's who I grew up watching in my era, and I'm amazed by Juan Manuel Marquez, and I would love to see him in a rematch against Floyd because I know he's going to make adjustments, him and Nacho Bernstein. Great effort by Guerrero, but just bad matchup stylistically. Nice showing by Abner Maris. He's the real deal, you know. But this fight was stopped too early. And Gabriel Rosado beat J. Leon Love, man. Come on. Cut it out. Cut it out. Slide waist 100. I'm out.